Ever wondered why Angry Birds, once the king of mobile gaming, went bankrupt? Well, let's take a step back in time to the early days of Angry Birds, where it all began. It was 2009 when Rovio Entertainment, a relatively unknown Finnish game developer, introduced the world to a bunch of colorful, disgruntled birds. The premise was simple, yet captivating. Launch these birds from a slingshot, topple structures, and defeat the green pigs who've stolen their eggs. It was a recipe for success. Angry Birds wasn't just a game, it was a revolution. It took mobile gaming by storm, quickly soaring to the top of the charts. In just a few short months it had been downloaded millions of times, and it wasn't long before it hit the billion mark. Its popularity was unmatched. It was a cultural phenomenon that transcended gaming. Children and adults alike were hooked, spending hours slinging birds and toppling pigs. Its success was unprecedented, marking a new era in mobile entertainment. And then, the Angry Birds empire expanded. We saw merchandise flood the markets. Plush toys, t-shirts, even lunchboxes. The birds were no longer confined to the small screens of our mobile devices. They were everywhere. Next came the animated series. The weekly adventures of our favorite birds and their nemesis, the green pigs, were viewed by millions around the world. The characters we had come to love were now on our television screens, further cementing Angry Birds' place in popular culture. And who could forget the film? The Angry Birds movie soared to the top of the box office, raking in hundreds of millions worldwide. It was clear that Angry Birds was more than a game. It was a multimedia empire that showed no signs of slowing down. But as the saying goes, what goes up must come down. And in the world of business, even the mightiest empires can fall, and fall Angry Birds did. The first signs of trouble for Angry Birds started appearing when the market began to change. Back in the day, mobile gaming was a relatively simple affair. Developers would create a game, put a price tag on it, and gamers would pay up front to enjoy hours of bird-flinging fun. However, as the years rolled on, the landscape of the mobile gaming market underwent a seismic shift. The era of simple, one-time purchase games was being overtaken by a new model, free-to-play games with in-app purchases. These games were free to download and play, but they offered in-app purchases that could enhance gameplay or speed up progress. This model proved wildly successful, with many gamers preferring the try-before-you-buy approach. As this new model took hold, Angry Birds found itself in a bit of a predicament. The game, which had initially been sold for a fixed price, was struggling to adapt to the free-to-play model. The original Angry Birds game had been designed with a single purchase in mind, not a continuous stream of microtransactions. The developers tried to keep up with the changing times, introducing in-app purchases and additional content. However, this wasn't an easy transition. The in-app purchases felt forced and out of place, and many players felt that the game had lost its original charm. It was as if the Angry Birds had flown into a glass window. They were dazed, confused, and unsure of where to go next. The introduction of in-app purchases also led to a backlash from the gaming community. Many players felt that the game was becoming too focused on making money, rather than providing a fun and engaging gaming experience. This led to a drop in player engagement, and ultimately, a decline in revenue. As the free-to-play model continued to dominate the mobile gaming market, Angry Birds faced increasing competition from new games that were designed from the ground up with this model in mind. These games offered engaging gameplay, combined with a seamless integration of in-app purchases, something that Angry Birds struggled to achieve. As the market changed, Angry Birds found itself struggling to keep up. With the shift in the market, Angry Birds started to lose its grip, a reality that even giants of the gaming world aren't immune to. Angry Birds was a phenomenon in its heyday. It was the game everyone was playing, the game every parent knew about, and the game that seemed to have an endless lifespan. But as the saying goes, all things must pass. The gaming market began to shift. New games with more immersive experiences and innovative mechanics started to emerge. These were not just games you played to pass the time, they were games you got lost in. They were games that made you feel like you were part of a larger narrative, part of a world beyond the screen. Angry Birds, in its simplicity, couldn't compete. It was a game designed for a different time, a time when games were simpler, less involved. But the market had moved on. Gamers wanted more than what Angry Birds could offer. The developers tried to adapt. They introduced new characters, new mechanics, even new game modes. But none of these changes could recapture the magic of the original. The new additions felt forced, inauthentic. They were seen as attempts to chase trends rather than innovate. And so, the decline of Angry Birds began. Its popularity started to wane. The game that once dominated the charts was now struggling to stay relevant. It was no longer the game everyone was playing, but the game everyone used to play. The downfall of Angry Birds is a cautionary tale in the gaming industry. It's a reminder that no game, no matter how successful, is immune to the shifts in the market. It's a reminder that innovation and adaptability are key in the ever-evolving world of gaming. Unable to adapt, Angry Birds found its popularity waning, a testament to the harsh reality of the gaming world. Adapt, innovate, or fade into obscurity. And so, the once mighty Angry Birds found itself facing bankruptcy. This was a shocking turn for a game that had once been a beacon of success in the mobile gaming industry. But as the saying goes, all that glitters is not gold. And beneath the surface, Angry Birds was grappling with severe financial troubles. Rovio, the company behind Angry Birds, had expanded rapidly during the game's heyday, investing heavily in new games, merchandise, and even a movie. But as the popularity of Angry Birds began to wane, these investments started to look more like costly mistakes. The company found itself spending more than it was earning. The revenue from the game and its associated products was no longer enough to cover the costs. The financial situation of Rovio became increasingly precarious, and the company was forced to make some tough decisions. It downsized, laying off employees and cutting back on new projects, but these measures were not enough to stem the tide. In a bid to turn things around, Rovio made a few attempts at diversifying its portfolio, launching new games and venturing into new markets. However, none of these efforts managed to replicate the success of Angry Birds, and the company continued to bleed money. Finally, the inevitable happened. Rovio filed for bankruptcy. The company that had once been worth billions, that had once been the darling of the mobile gaming world, was now insolvent. It was a somber moment, a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the fast-paced world of technology and gaming. The bankruptcy of Angry Birds serves as a cautionary tale for other companies in the industry. It underscores the importance of sustainable growth, financial prudence, and the ability to adapt and evolve in a rapidly changing market. Despite its past success, Angry Birds was unable to weather the storm. The company that once soared high in the gaming industry fell from grace, a stark reminder that even the mightiest can falter. So, what can we learn from the fall of Angry Birds? The demise of Angry Birds is a stark reminder that in the world of tech and gaming, relevance is everything. Even the most popular of franchises can topple if they fail to keep up with the rapidly changing market dynamics. The first and perhaps the most crucial lesson we can glean from this saga is the importance of adaptability. Angry Birds, at the height of its fame, was a phenomenon. It was a simple, engaging game that appealed to a broad audience. However, as the gaming landscape evolved, the franchise struggled to keep pace. Newer, more immersive games with innovative gameplay mechanics and compelling narratives began to overshadow the once invincible avian artillery. The inability to adapt to these changing trends and tastes ultimately spelled doom for our feathered friends. The second significant takeaway from this tale is the peril of over-reliance on a single product. Angry Birds was the golden goose for its creators, but it was also their only goose. When the game's popularity started to wane, there were no other flagship products to pick up the slack. This overdependence on a single success story can be a risky strategy, as it leaves a company vulnerable to market fluctuations and changing consumer preferences. A diversified portfolio not only spreads the risk, but also provides opportunities for cross-promotion and synergy between different products. It ensures that a company's fortunes are not tied to the success or failure of a single product. In conclusion, the story of Angry Birds serves as a cautionary tale for game developers and tech companies alike. It underscores the importance of staying attuned to market trends, continually innovating, and maintaining a diverse product portfolio. In the ever-changing world of mobile gaming, adaptability and diversification are key. Angry Birds learned this the hard way.